up, y'all? Welcome back to West Seattle. It's Ben back, and this time I am here to take my first look at the new Sublime Focus from 900 Global. So the Sublime Focus is the sequel to the original Sublime that came out last year, except now the sequel has a solid cover stock, Reserve Blend 804, sanded to 2000 grit, same numbers as the first Sublime, 247056. So we'll take a look at that in just a sec. First, we're gonna find out what's going on out on the lanes. Typical West Seattle house shot, trusty Summit Ascent, and we'll talk about why I chose the Summit Ascent to compare. Just a second, let's get lined up. So the Summit Ascent has pretty similar numbers to the Sublime Focus. Actually, they're almost identical. So whereas the Sublime Focus is 247056, the Summit Ascent is 246056. What's key to know though is just because numbers are the same between two balls doesn't mean they do the same thing. And why that is, we'll talk about that after we throw another shot or two to make sure we're lined up. Lower 10. But yeah, so just because numbers are the same between two balls, it doesn't mean that they do the same thing. And here's why. The shape of a weight block matters quite a bit. You could have certain bits of mass that get drilled out at the top, the middle, or the bottom of a weight block in one ball that you aren't drilling out in another ball, even though the numbers, the radius of gyration and the differential on paper are similar. So when you drill out mass, post-drilling numbers, post-drilling reaction can be different between two balls. Summit Ascent's been good. Super trustworthy, super controllable, super smooth. Wasn't a shocker to me. R2S cover on this one. Perhaps my favorite cover of all time. IQ Tour vibes. Let's throw one more. Yeah, super good, right? Speaking of R2S solid on the Summit Ascent, that is the other difference quite often between two balls that have similar core numbers, the cover difference. So, whereas the Summit Ascent has a weaker, cleaner, trusted blend of R2S solid, this new Sublime Focus has a brand new 804 2000 grit stronger cover. So that's going to be another major difference too. Speaking of the Sublime Focus, let's take our first look at this. Because of the stronger cover and the stronger surface prep at 2000, I'm going to guess I'm going to want to move left, but there's only one way to find out. That's by throwing it from the same exact line we just threw at Summit Ascent. Ooh, it's pretty good. That one you could definitely tell I eked that right. A lot of balls, especially on a house shot, especially at our house shot, if you throw it right, you can kind of wind up sitting in the friction a little too long and then store energy and jump on you. That one did not do that. Kind of rolled, smooth, chuggy, tumbly. That is exactly what I want to see from almost every ball. It's just my preferred ball reaction. So another one, same spot. Oh my God. That hits so hard. So that's more the line that I would be trying to play without error. And the similarity between the two reactions we just saw is one got in the friction early, smooth tumbled out. That one kind of stayed on line, kind of slowed down in the track, stayed tumbly. That is an excellent sign for Ben, because Ben prefers slower, more controllable down lane reaction. throw one more, and then we'll move around. Little back row late action. Pleasantly surprised, I'm liking this a lot more than I thought I would, and I was already pretty excited. And the reason I was excited was because the first Sublime, in all transparency, it didn't match up the best with my game, the way I throw it. Now, it matched up quite a bit with a lot of other people here at West Seattle and beyond. I'm gonna move a little left now. Let's see what kind of legs this has if we move left and maybe steepen up the launch angle. I'm gonna have to look back on that in post when I'm doing this video later, but that looked like the same pinfall as the shot right before, that back row, 3/4 of the back row, kind of falling late because this ball is diving through the pins. Pretty cool. I'm gonna move another one left, so with this ball return in the way, I'm kind of limited without having to get in front of the ball return, but I'm gonna be sliding at about 39. These balls don't miss. Okay, so yeah, pleasantly surprised, very excited because I really wanted to put the original Sublime into my bag. Every time I saw other people throwing it, it just looked so good. And then whenever I threw it, it looked like sometimes it was a bit too strong for me, sometimes it went a little bit too long for me. This Sublime Focus kind of gives me, in my style or my preference visually, something that I like to see, which is a little earlier rolling, a lot more mid lane, and then kind of tumbly slow in the back. I'm kind of out of room, moving left. Let's go one more lined up, and we're gonna bring the Summit Ascent back out. By lined up, I mean around where I first threw the first shot. This is the same exact layout that I used to drill my first Sublime. So about 5.5 by 60. That 60 hints at pin down, raises the RG a little bit, also keeps it a little smoother, tumbly. But if you, like me, didn't quite match up with the first Sublime, take a look at this one, because this one is looking pretty quickly like it could find its way into my everyday bag for the House Shot League, for our Challenge Sport League. It's nice and controllable. Let's get out of it though, at least momentarily, and go back to the Summit Ascent. Now again, core numbers are the same, but the shape is different, so what gets drilled out is different. But mostly the cover difference is massive. This older idea of R2S, maybe the most proven cover stock in bowling history, is my favorite cover. It's pretty clean. It gets through the first 2/3 of the lane really easily. It stores enough energy. So that even though you're about as left as a strong 804 blend, 2000 grit surface in the Sublime Focus, this 4000 grit, much less teeth, and weaker cover, still has the punch to get there, just like that. And that's why this cover has been around, A, for so long, and B, so successfully. Let's start moving left now, just like we did with the Sublime Focus. So about 2 left. They both work. You know where this Summit Ascent has been in my bag, and I'm still learning it, but where it's been in my bag is either a ball to start with on a house shot, or a ball that, as the lanes start to break down, I don't want to jump left. Is it strong enough to handle oil? There still is some, but it's clean enough to deal with a little bit of transition. There's our first miss in a great while with either ball. Missed a little in, and it was a little slow, and so just picked up a little much, got offline a little early, despite what I just said about R2S being a little cleaner getting down the lane. I did miss that shot. Let's off that one though. Let's move to where we ended up maxing out with the Sublime Focus, sliding at 39, and see if this ball can get back with as much success. One, it gives me some deja vu. All right, we're gonna go back to lining up with the Summit Ascent. And then we'll go right back into the Sublime Focus. So lining up again, ideally is probably about 3 or 4 right of where we just shot that one. Okay, that one was a little flat off my hand, so rolled a little forward than I had intended and left that ring 10. So a little intermission. What are we seeing so far? Cover does matter in bowling balls. Balls with similar numbers and different covers can give you kind of 2 looks. This one is a fair bit cleaner, gets started up a little later down the lane. And this one starts up a little earlier, and so it's smoother down lane. So ask yourself, what do you need? What bowling center are you bowling at? What condition are you bowling on? What people are you bowling with? That can help inform which ball to pull out of your bag. More particularly, it can help inform what ball to purchase. So for me, on a super clean lane bed like West Seattle's, we have relatively newer lanes, not a whole lot of friction, and we put a fair bit more oil than, say, a house shot down the street. Sublime Focus is going to roll nice and controllable. You don't want no 9s. That dirty dog had nowhere to run. Layouts, if I didn't make clear, are exactly the same in both balls. 5.5 by 60. So for you, or for most people, it's kind of a pinned down look. I like that for cleaner house shots and generally speaking. This ball does not miss. Just when I wonder if it's going to just jump sharp on me, just one of these shots, it just stays the course. It's hard to even accidentally make it be something that it wasn't engineered to be, which is this smooth, controllable shape. So that's another question you can ask yourself. What is your bowling style? Is the Sublime Focus good for you? Well, if your bowling style is one that tends to struggle with back-end snap, back-end overreaction, take a look at the Sublime Focus, because what I'm seeing is it's really hard to make it do that, but not at a sacrifice to it going through the pins well. Even when I come in high, it's not because it's this super sharp motion. Just kind of missed a little here, there, and everywhere, but it's gonna get there. Also ask yourself, what is your ball speed? If your ball speed is on the medium to higher side, this 2000 grit 804 reserve blend might be something you're looking for too. This is a brand new blend from 900 Global, so really curious to see if it will make it onto future releases, because right now this is some good new tech. You see just how smooth and tumbly that is? And lastly, what you can ask yourself when it comes to figuring out, is this the right ball for you as the type of bowler that you are? Ask yourself, what is your rev rate? And if you haven't measured your rev rate, or you have no idea, check with your Proshop because they should be able to easily help you figure that out. Mine's a bit on the high side. We just measured ours relatively recently. And relative in ratio to my speed, I'm definitely a bit rev dominant, so things can start up a little quick for me. So down lane overreaction is something that I take into account. Bowling balls that roll smooth at the back part of the lane are my preferred go-to ball reaction most of the time. Not all of the time, but most of the time. So if that's you, take a look at this one. Eke that one right again, and that's really what you can see. Just sat there for a minute. That's storing a lot of energy to just peel off, potentially. But not with this. That one covered my errant shot. No dirty dogs in this video. So with that second stone 9, messenger tumbled out. The last point I can make about matching up a bowling ball to you is don't forget that the surface of a bowling ball can be changed. More importantly, if you don't like how you changed it, it can be put back very easily. So experimentation is a great way to find a ball that's close to matching up well with you or far from matching up well with you, and finding something new that you didn't even know you had. For example, the main difference I'm seeing as I'm throwing the Sublime Focus and the Summit Ascent back to back is that, again, that cover and the Summit Ascent helps the ball get further down the lane. So as friction starts to develop, I'm gonna want that. But what if I'm wanting to use the Summit Ascent and just have it pick up a little earlier? This is 4000 R2S. Grab a 2000, maybe a 1000 Aberlon pad, and you can sand this up a little bit, just to maybe give you the traction that you need. Now, right now, I don't know that I need to adjust it. I think this one is pretty well suited for what I'm bowling on and who I'm bowling with. Just me, I'm kind of burning up the same line here. So this R2S kind of wants to be clean for the front right now because where I'm laying it down is going away ever so incrementally. And that clean R2S is going to ignore that developing friction, but still store some energy from the back so it doesn't die on me. Now, if your history with the game, whatever suits your eye or developing lane conditions want you to play more right, say up the track, up 12, 13, 14, or even down and in, say 8, 9, 10, the Sublime Focus, I think, is going to give you a better shot at being successful because of just how round and blendy it is when it stays in that outside friction a lot more than something that's more angular. And here's one more example of that. Right? Anyone who knows me playing the house shot here at West Seattle, that's not the line that I play. But with that ball, I could. Speaking of league shots, we're starting up leagues here at West Seattle, so I'm imagining a lot of you watching are also starting up league. What's in your bag? Let me know. Is something like this something you're missing? Go snag one September 20th, if so. Because it is just that good for league of any kind. I look forward to seeing how it's going to match up in, again, our more difficult challenge / sport league that we have Monday nights here. Typically you want something a little more controllable and blendier, if that's even a word. when you're on tougher conditions. And so I would bet that as I get a little more time with this ball and learn its limits and of where it thrives, this neon yellow, cobalt blue, hot pink logo action is gonna be seeing quite a bit of action this season. Six pins snapping that 10 out. That's with an earlier, sanded, solid, strong cover. All right, let's wrap it up, throw one more with each. First up, Summit Ascent. Probably right now, my go-to ball in the middle of my bag, say a step up from IQ Tour, a step sideways laterally with a different shape to the Ion Pro, and a step or two down from my heavy oil snow tire options like Harsh Reality and the new Ion Max. So, Summit Ascent, what we got? Blows those pins back. Cleaner at the front part of the lane. What does cleaner mean? Just gets through it easier. Friction doesn't get in the way. What doesn't go too long, still reads, and has great continuation without being too sharp. Similarly, something we find with this Sublime Focus. Sublime Focus, really good. Pleasantly surprised. If you liked the original Sublime, take a look at this one because it's not a duplicate. It's a great complement. They are very different. Perfect ball for the middle of your bag for your house shot league or beyond. And something that can give you some relief when those back ends are on fire while also handling some heavy oil. So that's all I got for now. We'll see you in the next one.